Today I'm canning sauerkraut for you. It's been fermenting since last October and it is wonderful. Well, hi guys, welcome back to Linda's Pantry. And today it's pretty exciting around here because we're gonna be canning, sauerkraut. So my husband's family puts sauerkraut up, they ferment the sauerkraut and this got started last October 28th. And it is delicious. Raw, it's wonderful. It's actually got a little bit of a sweetness to it. It's not overly salty or anything. I've already done a side dish that I'll be uploading for you. And yeah, it's delicious. But I want to put it on the shelf because they gifted us 5 gallons of sauerkraut. So we're gonna put as much of it as we think we might use and share throughout the year, and then we'll do it again next year. But I'm gonna do quart jars and pint jars, but the quart jars are gonna go first, and that's what I'll show you as far as the canning session. I've already got my jars washed and sanitized in the dishwasher. This is a water bath canning method, and I'm using the instructions from the National Center for Home Food Preservation. And you just go to nchfp.uga.edu and you'll get any canning information you need that's always up to date. So, and I looked in one of my older canning books and the time is different and the technique is a little bit different. So I'm gonna hot pack these. You can raw pack them, but I'm gonna hot pack them and then they will process for 15 minutes because they're quarts. The pints that I do will only be 10 minutes. It's gonna be great. So I filled this pretty much, it's almost full, this 12-quart stock pot full of kraut. Oh my goodness, yes. And it's full and it's so tempting. I just absolutely love this sauerkraut. It's so good. And it's really not salty. It's perfect. So hopefully next year I can bring you along for some kraut making. We just weren't able to go this year. Okay, so, or maybe we'll just make it ourselves. You never know. We'll do it though, promise. Okay, I'm gonna get this on the stove. You bring it up to a boil. It's saying, well, it goes through the whole process of fermenting and everything. So you can go, if you've never done sauerkraut, I highly recommend you go to the National Center and all the complete instructions on how to do it are right in there. We're gonna bring the kraut and liquid to a boil in a large kettle, stirring frequently, remove from heat and fill the jars rather firmly with the kraut and the juices, leaving a ½ inch headspace. Now, you can make an additional bit of brine. This doesn't have a lot of brine to it, so an additional bit of brine is okay. It's to a quart of water, it's 1.5 tablespoons of salt. So we're probably gonna use some of that. Anyway, let's get over to the stove and I'll get this going. I'll bring you back when it's warm enough to start packing some jars. I did wanna mention, because, well, I'm an affiliate, I am gonna be using 4 jars, canning lids, and rings, because I needed some rings. I've given away stuff and you never get the ring back. So you're lucky if you get the jar back, right? So we're gonna be using the lids and rings today, and I'm excited about that. These rings actually hold up through way more canning processes. They don't degrade so fast as some of the other brands do. So we've got our lids here. They're ready to go submerge in hot water. I'm definitely gonna always submerge them in some simmering water because, why? Because that's what the instructions say on the side of the box. Okay, don't forget, if you're interested in 4 jars lids, I've got a discount code down below. It's Linda's Pantry, no apostrophe, all one word. And Linda's Pantry 10. You will get 10% off your complete order, and anything over $50, I believe, is free shipping. I'm standing on a 4 jars anti-fatigue mat. It's the best mat I've ever had in the kitchen. And so I highly recommend all their products. They now have a Pry-Lid jar opener. They've got the canning funnels, which I will be using today, that come with, this is for the wide mouth, So you've got a wide mouth and a regular, but it also comes with a strainer. If you were doing broth or stock, you could do that last straining right through that mesh. Pretty amazing. Okay, so I've got the hot jars here and my hot sauerkraut with the brine. I did add, I added a quart of extra brine to this. I wanted some liquid. That liquid is going to facilitate the heat to get through to the center of the jar. And we're going to pack that down. All the recipes that I looked, or canning processes, old and new, all said to pack it down pretty good. You're going to get all those air bubbles out. Try to anyway. And that looks really good. 1/2 inch head space. So if you, this nifty thing with 4 jars is it gives you 1/2 inch, just right to that second rim. So I've got to add just a little bit more. And then I'm right there. So 1/2 inch head space, and I can now move this over to here, which I feel like that's kind of full, but it says 1/2 inch, so we're gonna go with it. I've got a paper towel and my hot lids. Ouch, hot jars, hot lids. My hot lids are here in the bowl, and I put simmering water over them. And that softens that plasticine or whatever it is. And a ring, center that flat on there, and then get yourself, oh, this is an older ring. So I've got a little of both here. Let's grab a new one. See how we do. And, okay, we've got 1 jar full. It's going in the canner to wait for the rest of the crew. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful sauerkraut. Okay, now, jar number 2 is going, I've got jar number 2's right here. And we'll go there, get everything. And we're gonna rinse and repeat. Okay. I know we're gonna have, well, we just emptied the 5-gallon bucket. There's 4 quart, so there's 12 more quarts of kraut, which they said this would can about 28 quarts. I'm overwhelmed with that a little bit, but boy, we've got enough to share, which is really exciting. Okay, let's get some debubbling going here. See if we've got the 1/2 inch, and literally you're seeing bubbles come up. And when you open a jar of sauerkraut that you buy in the store, it's pretty firmly packed. It's in there pretty good. So we are 1/2 inch, and I think we're good to go. Go ahead and transfer this over. And when you open a jar, it's going to keep for weeks in your refrigerator, so you don't have to worry about, if canning it in quarts, you've got too much. If I'm going to do a big thing of, let's say, oh, this is that ring. If I'm going to do a big thing of cabbage rolls, I use just about a quart. So I'm going to go ahead with this and get that in the canner. And off to the canner. I'm canning in my steam canner, so if you can do this in a boiling water bath canner, the steam canner acts the same. It gives me the same results, so that's what I'm using. It's a lot less hassle to move heavy pots around with water and all that. So there you go. I think that quart of brine addition was just about perfect for this pot, because And it's hard to stay out of. It's so good. This is really, really, really good. Debubble, 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 debubble. Some people put caraway seeds, but you can add that when you do your recipes. You can add caraway in there. Oh, the side dish that I did for you already, I will upload that. You are going to love it. And if you have any kraut side dishes that your family likes, or if you've canned sauerkraut yourself, let me know in the comments section and share with us maybe some tips and tricks or ideas that you have in that whole process. 1/2 inch headspace, wipe the rims after debubbling. Finger tight. It's as soon as you get resistance and the jar turns, you're finger tight. Okay, in the canner. I'll be back. Okay, so the canner is full. I've got 7 quarts in here in a steam canner. I've already started my timer for 15 minutes. I've got a steady stream of steam coming out of here, and it's in the green zone according to my altitude. So you'll want to test your canner when you first get it. And I'll leave a link to a steam canner if I can down below, where it's probably one of my favorite purchases in the last couple of years for food preservation. It's just, it is light. I can grab it and go. The other one's heavy and cumbersome, and there's so much wasted water. Even though I will save it, let it cool down, and water plants with it, it's still, it's more of a pain. So this one, not so much. All right. Okay, I'm going to finish this process, and I'll bring you back when I take these out of the jar. Once the timing has hit, then I will turn the burner off and let it sit for a few minutes, and then I'm going to get the lid where it lets some of that steam out. I found I get the best seal if I do that and let that cool down a little bit before I open it completely and take those jars out. Okay guys, so the canner has finished. It sat there for about 5 minutes, and then I let some of the steam out, kind of got it, it was just about like this little air gap to let that steam out, and now we're ready to go ahead and get these jars out. I don't see any of them that have sealed yet. All the little dimples are still up, and that's okay. Don't tip your jars, especially when you know they aren't sealed. This ring is loose, leave them alone. Typically I will try to twist that a little bit, but you don't have to. You're just holding the flat onto the jar. So 7 quarts of sauerkraut, and I'm going to do my next canner load here of pints, and we're going to have enough sauerkraut to feed an army. I love it. All right, guys, look how beautiful. It's just gorgeous in the jar. Homemade sauerkraut. Who wouldn't love that? All right, I see a lot of brats and Reubens in our future. All right. If you've done this, leave me a comment. If you like this sort of stuff, I hope you subscribe to the channel, because I have hundreds of canning videos, hundreds of different types of food preservation, as well as cooking with all the stuff I talk about. All right. Bye. I hope you enjoyed the canning process as much as I always do. And if you did, I hope you'll subscribe and hit that thumbs up.